Welcome back, everyone, to Beyond the Unknown. I'm Alex Carter.
And I'm Olivia Reyes.
Today, we're diving deep into, it's a figure who always gets people riled up in the UFO world, Bob Lazar.
Definitely a controversial one.
Yeah, so this is episode 16, Bob Lazar, Whistleblower or Mythmaker.
Yeah.
And we're going through this report that really digs into, the whole story.
Yeah, trying to make sense of it all.
So to start, Bob Lazar is, he's just so divisive, right? You've got folks who think he's this brave, truth teller, putting it all on the line to expose this massive alien tech cover-up.
And on the other hand, you have, quite a few people who think he's just cooked the whole thing up. Maybe for fame, maybe for money, who knows?
So what we're going to do today is go through all the stuff, the claims, the evidence, the doubts.
See if we can, help you make up your own mind about it.
Exactly. So the report starts us off back in 1989. This is when Lazar first pops up, does an interview with this journalist, George Knapp. But he used a fake name at first, Dennis.
Didn't reveal who he really was until later, which kind of makes you wonder.
Right, what's that all about? So the big thing Lazar claims is that he worked at this super secret place, called it S4. Supposedly it was near Area 51.
Like hiding in plain sight, right?
Yeah, he says he was brought there to reverse engineer alien spacecraft. Not just look at them, but take them apart, figure out the tech.
That's a pretty big claim right there.
Oh, and it gets bigger. This is where the sport model comes in.
Ah, yes, the sport model.
So this was supposedly the specific craft Lazar worked on, and the propulsion system.
Well, get ready, because this is where it gets wild.
Definitely takes a turn for the sci-fi.
Lazar says the sport model used a gravity amplifier, and this thing was powered by something he called element 115. The thing is, back in '89, element 115 didn't even exist.
Not officially, anyway. It wasn't on the periodic table.
Totally sounded made up, right? But then, get this, in 2003, scientists actually made element 115 in a lab.
They called it moscovium. Yeah, moscovium. But there's a catch. The stuff they made is super unstable, decays almost instantly.
So it doesn't really prove Lazar right, but it definitely makes things more interesting, doesn't it?
It's like a little piece of his crazy story suddenly became, less crazy.
Right. Maybe he just got lucky with a guess, or maybe there's more to it. And then there's the whole physics of this alien propulsion system that really bends your mind a bit. He said this gravity amplifier could actually warp space-time.
Basically, this sport model could manipulate gravity to, fall through space. Back then, that was pure Star Trek stuff.
Completely out there. But these days, we've got physicists talking about warp drives and manipulating gravity for interstellar travel. So maybe Lazar was onto something.
Even if the technology is, light years ahead of us. But, okay, the report doesn't just ignore the people who doubt Lazar. There's definitely some stuff that's hard to explain.
There's definitely some inconsistencies.
Yeah, like his education. He claimed to have degrees from MIT and Caltech, two of the best science schools out there.
Top of the line.
But when people looked into it, neither one had any record of him.
He was never even there.
His explanation. That the government wiped his records to discredit him.
Maybe.
Possible. But without any proof, it's tough to just believe that.
And it's not just that. The report mentions some of Lazar's old co-workers who say they don't remember him working on anything government-related, let alone alien tech.
Some people say they back him up, though. Like George Knapp, the journalist who first interviewed him, he still believes Lazar.
It's messy, for sure. But there's another big piece of this. Area 51? You can't talk Lazar without talking Area 51.
They're intertwined, right? The mystery, the secrecy, it all feeds into it.
Right. And for years, the government just denied Area 51 existed, even with all the stories, photos, people seeing things.
It was just this big open secret.
Then, in 2013, they finally admitted it was real. But they still kept most of what goes on there classified. So, of course, people thought they're hiding something big.
Like alien stuff. Exactly. And that's the world Lazar's story stepped into. He said S4 was near Area 51, dedicated to studying alien tech. So, yeah, people were primed to believe it.
Especially those already into the whole UFO thing.
And it's not just the UFO crowd. Lazar's story has become a part of pop culture.
Sure.
Movies, TV shows, books. Tons of them have that secret government base hiding alien tech.
What's everywhere?
And Lazar's story might have been the blueprint. Then, in 2018, there was this documentary, Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers, gave him another chance to tell a story. People got interested in him all over again.
That documentary really paints him as someone who suffered for speaking out.
So, here we are. That's the basic story. But the big question is still, is he telling the truth or is he making it all up?
The million-dollar question. And honestly, this report doesn't make it easy to answer. Lazar's story is full of intriguing claims, interesting details, but also things that just don't add up.
It's what keeps people coming back, I guess. Wanting to believe, but needing proof.
The push and pull of it all. Back again for more, Beyond the Unknown. We're digging deeper into this Bob Lazar situation, and this report dives into, well, what makes his story stick with people?
It's pretty remarkable, right? No real proof, but people have been into this for over 30 years.
Shows the power of, I don't know, wanting to believe something. When it comes to UFOs, alien stuff, people's biases really color how they see things.
Yeah, like Lazar's story kind of hits those buttons for some folks. They already think the government's hiding stuff, that aliens are real.
And his story just confirms all that for him, even if they got to ignore the parts that don't fit.
Right, the other side, they see those holes and instantly say, he's a fake. They fixate on his background, no evidence, people saying he's lying.
It's like we're all looking at the same puzzle, picking out different pieces. We fill in the rest ourselves.
And you got to factor in the government's whole track record, right? All the secrecy, especially about UFOs or UAPs, whatever they're calling them now.
Definitely. I mean, the CIA, the Pentagon, they've been so hush-hush about UFOs forever, denying, dismissing, even making fun of people who said they saw something weird.
Makes people suspicious,
Right.
right? If they're hiding it that hard, must be something big.
Like the saying, where there's smoke.
There's fire, yeah. Even if there's no actual fire, that smoke makes you wonder. So stories like Lazar's, they sound believable because we're already primed for it.
Think the government knows more than they're saying, keeping the truth from us.
And then we get those Pentagon videos, the ones with UAPs doing crazy stuff we can't explain.
Those really changed things.
Big time. Plus, the government basically admitting they don't have all the answers. Makes you wonder if all the conspiracy stuff was closer to the truth than we thought.
Right. Maybe it wasn't so crazy after all. And that brings us back to Lazar. What if, just what if, there's even a little truth to his story?
What if they do have alien tech? What are they doing with it? Why keep it secret?
And what about element 115, warping gravity, all that stuff? Maybe he was describing real tech, just way beyond anything we can do now.
Hard to even imagine, right?
Totally. Makes you think maybe we're on the edge of some huge scientific change, something that rewrites everything we thought we knew.
Oh, easy to get carried away, though. We're still in speculation territory here.
Oh, absolutely. That's why all this UAP research is so important. We need more data, more analysis. The government needs to be more open if we're ever going to figure this out.
And it's not just on the government. There are tons of scientists, researchers doing their own investigations into UFOs.
Yeah, like MUFO on, UFORC. They've been collecting UFO sightings for ages.
Huge database of info, right? Might help us see patterns, clues, get closer to what these things actually are.
Plus, there are newer groups like the Galileo Project. They're using all this advanced tech to study UAPs.
It's pretty exciting to be following all this. We're moving past just guessing into actual science.
Who knows what we'll find? Maybe Lazar will be proven right, even though it seemed so out there before.
Or maybe we'll find something totally new, something that changes everything about how we see the universe.
Now, remember all that stuff Lazar said about the sport model?
Yeah, the propulsion system, element 115, gravity amplifier, it was wild.
Well, check this out. Some of the new physics theories suggest that manipulating gravity, like he described, might actually be possible.
It's mind-blowing, right? We've talked about warp drives before, the whole warping space-time to go faster than light thing.
Creating a warp bubble, squeezing space in front and stretching it behind.
Sounds crazy, but the math behind it works. And it's not just warp drives. There's wormholes, all sorts of ideas that use gravity to, like, make shortcuts through space and time.
What's cool is that scientists are taking this stuff seriously now, not just sci-fi anymore.
Of course, we're nowhere near building a warp drive or jumping through a wormhole, but
But it's not impossible anymore, which makes you think about Lazar again. What if he saw some real tech, just super advanced, and that's where he got those ideas from?
it's not crazy to think the government has stuff way ahead of what we know.
Yeah, they could be messing around with gravity, even if it sounds impossible to us.
And if that's true, maybe that's why people still find Lazar's story so compelling. Maybe you got a glimpse of something groundbreaking, something that could change space travel forever.
It's a pretty awesome thought, gotta admit. But we gotta be careful, not get ahead of ourselves.
So as we wrap this whole Bob Lazar thing up, the report makes this point about, well, what his story means in the big picture.
It is kind of wild how it's stuck around for so long, even with all the doubt and no real proof.
Yeah, it's like it's become this, I don't know, this landmark in UFO culture. It really captures people's imagination.
I think it shows how badly we want to understand where we fit in, the universe and all that.
Right. The idea that we're not alone,
Mm.
that there's other intelligent life out there, it's exciting and kind of scary at the same time.
Makes you think about some big stuff. Who are we? Where'd we come from? What's it all about?
And Lazar's story, it's like a window into this world where the impossible might be real, where science and tech go way beyond what we think is possible.
Even if it's all made up, it still shows us something about what we hope for, what we're afraid of.
Totally. Our obsession with government secrets, not trusting authority, always wanting to know more.
We just have to make sense of things we don't understand, even if it means believing stuff that seems crazy.
And stories are powerful, right?
Oh, for sure. Stories help us organize what we experience, find meaning in chaos, connect with each other.
Lazar's story, true or not, has become part of how we see UFOs, government conspiracies, aliens.
It's woven into everything. And now things are changing, right? More openness about UAPs, maybe even some disclosure. We got to remember what we can learn from stories like Lazar's.
Approach the unknown with curiosity, but also with a healthy dose of skepticism. Be amazed, but also think critically.
Exactly. We got to be aware of our own biases and hold those in power accountable to tell the truth.
Because finding the truth is something we do together, using reason, evidence, and wanting to unravel the mysteries of the universe.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So that's our deep dive into the world of Bob Lazar. Keep exploring, weigh the evidence, consider all the options, make up your own mind.
Don't be afraid to ask questions, keep learning, and never lose that sense of wonder when you look at the stars.
Thanks for joining us on Beyond the Unknown.